Power is never found in chasing the right dream before you discover the right presence. Many people spend their lives trying to become successful. Few stop to ask what success truly is. The answer to that question shapes every choice you make. It determines what you sacrifice. It determines what you fear. It determines what you celebrate. If your definition is wrong, then your direction will also be wrong. A person can arrive at the destination they planned and still discover an empty heart. The greatest tragedy is not failure. The greatest tragedy is succeeding at something God never called your highest treasure. Many spend years climbing, many keep reaching, many keep striving. Yet peace seems to move farther away. Joy becomes harder to find. Rest becomes a forgotten gift. The soul becomes tired. The heart becomes divided. The mind becomes filled with endless pressure. God never designed his children to measure life only by visible achievements. He always begins somewhere deeper. He begins with relationship. He begins with his presence. That is why one simple truth changes everything. The Lord is with me. These words appear simple, yet heaven places enormous value upon them. These words contain more strength than human confidence. These words contain more hope than financial security. These words contain more peace than perfect circumstances. Many people believe success begins when circumstances improve. God reveals something entirely different. Success begins when his presence becomes greater than your circumstances. The world says you become successful after you possess enough. God says success begins when he possesses your heart. The world measures success by comparison. God measures success by communion. The world asks what you own. God asks who walks with you. This changes everything. It changes the way you pray. It changes the way you work. It changes the way you face difficulty. It changes the way you view tomorrow. Notice the life of Joseph. Everything around him appeared broken. Everything visible suggested failure. He had lost his freedom. He had lost his home. He had lost his comfort. Yet heaven described him with remarkable words. Genesis 39 verse 2 declares, "The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man." Think carefully about those words. Joseph had no throne. Joseph had no title. Joseph had no wealth. Yet God called him successful. Why? Because heaven sees deeper than appearances. God never waits until the palace before calling someone successful. His definition begins long before promotion arrives. His definition begins with his presence. Joseph carried something that slavery could not remove. He carried fellowship with God. His surroundings changed. His position changed. His responsibilities changed. But one reality never changed. The Lord remained with him. That became the foundation of everything else. People often believe that one opportunity will change their lives. Others believe one connection will transform their future. Still others believe one achievement will finally satisfy them. Yet Scripture points us toward something greater. The greatest blessing is not merely what God gives. The greatest blessing is that God himself remains with his people. His presence gives courage when strength disappears. His presence gives wisdom when answers cannot be found. His presence gives peace when everything around you feels uncertain. His presence becomes the atmosphere where faith grows. Many believers seek God's hand. Few learn to treasure his presence. His hand provides. His presence transforms. His hand changes situations. His presence changes people. God is not merely interested in improving your circumstances. He desires to reshape your heart, because transformed people handle blessings differently. They no longer depend upon success for identity. Their identity flows from God's nearness. Think about how fear operates. Fear always whispers that you are alone. Fear tells you nobody understands. Fear tells you that everything depends upon your own strength. Fear magnifies problems. Faith answers with one declaration: The Lord is with me. That confession is not positive thinking, it is agreement with divine reality. Faith does not create God's presence. Faith awakens your awareness of His presence. There is an important difference. God is not becoming near because you confess it. He is already near. Your heart simply becomes conscious of what has always been true. That awareness changes your outlook. Suddenly problems become smaller, not because they disappeared, but because God becomes larger in your thinking. This is how faith grows naturally. Faith grows where God's presence becomes more real than visible obstacles. Many believers try to produce faith through effort. Scripture leads us toward another path. Become occupied with the one who is with you. When your eyes remain fixed upon Him, your confidence rises without striving. Peace begins replacing anxiety. Strength begins replacing weakness. Hope begins replacing discouragement. Notice how Joseph served faithfully. He was not serving because life was easy. He served because God's presence remained his greatest reality. Faithfulness becomes natural when you know you never stand alone. This truth also protects the heart from pride. When blessings increase, you remember who walked with you before anyone noticed your life. When opportunities multiply, you remember the one who opened doors no human could unlock. When favor appears, you remember that His presence was already enough before visible success arrived. This produces humility. Humility protects every blessing God entrusts to you. Now consider another question. What occupies your thoughts from morning until night? Is your heart constantly measuring what others have accomplished? Are you comparing your journey with someone else's progress? Comparison quietly steals gratitude. Comparison blinds you to God's present work. Comparison convinces you that tomorrow contains what only God can provide today. The heart becomes restless. Contentment disappears, peace fades. Yet everything changes when you remember, the Lord is with me. Those 5 words silence many unnecessary battles. They calm endless striving. They remove hidden insecurity. They anchor your soul. They remind you that heaven has not abandoned you. They remind you that God's purpose has not failed. They remind you that His promises are still alive. Success begins there, not with applause, not with recognition, not with possessions, but with the certainty that the Creator walks beside His child. When this truth settles deeply within you, work becomes worship, waiting becomes preparation. Difficult seasons become classrooms. Closed doors become opportunities to trust. Nothing becomes wasted. Everything becomes meaningful because His presence fills every season. This is why believers can remain steady while everything around them changes. Their foundation is not built upon circumstances. Their foundation rests upon the one who never changes. That is where lasting success begins, and once this truth captures your heart, you will never measure life the same way again. The moment God's presence becomes your greatest treasure, your definition of success is forever transformed. You stop asking whether life is easy. You begin asking whether you're walking closely with Him. You stop measuring every day by visible results. You begin measuring every day by faithful obedience. That change may seem small, but it changes everything. A heart that values God's presence cannot be shaken as easily by temporary disappointments. It cannot be controlled by fear. It cannot be ruled by comparison. It cannot be destroyed by delay because its confidence is resting somewhere deeper. God never promised that every road would be comfortable. He never promised that every season would be understood. But He repeatedly revealed one unchanging reality. He would be with His people. That promise has never lost its power. The greatest victory is not escaping every battle. The greatest victory is discovering that God walks beside you in every battle. That is why peace can exist in difficult places. Peace does not depend upon perfect surroundings. Peace flows from the presence of the Prince of Peace. Many people spend their lives waiting for one great moment. They believe happiness begins after the promotion, after the breakthrough, after the healing, after the increase, after every unanswered question is finally resolved. But faith lives differently. Faith recognizes that the greatest gift has already been given. God has drawn near through Christ, that truth changes the ordinary. An ordinary morning becomes sacred. An ordinary workplace becomes a place where God can reveal His wisdom. An ordinary conversation becomes an opportunity for His love to shine. Nothing remains ordinary when you become conscious of His presence. This awareness also changes the way you face uncertainty. The future often frightens people because they believe they must face it alone. The unknown appears larger than their confidence. Tomorrow feels heavier than today. But the believer remembers one unchanging reality. The God who walked with you yesterday will also walk with you tomorrow. He is already present where you have not yet arrived. He has never been surprised by your future. He has already prepared grace for every step. That is why faith does not panic. Faith looks ahead with quiet confidence. Not because it knows every answer, but because it knows the one who never fails. There is remarkable freedom in that confidence. You no longer have to force every door open. You no longer have to carry every burden by yourself. You no longer have to prove your worth to the world. You rest in the value that God has already placed upon your life. His presence becomes your security. His love becomes your identity. His promises become your expectation. The heart begins to slow down. The anxious striving begins to disappear. The constant pressure to compete begins to lose its power. Contentment quietly grows, not because ambition disappears, but because ambition becomes submitted to God's purpose. There is nothing wrong with working diligently. There is nothing wrong with growing. There is nothing wrong with excellence. God delights in faithful work. He blesses wisdom. He honors integrity. But these things must remain servants. They must never become masters. The heart must never worship success. The heart must worship God. When that order is established, everything else finds its proper place. Blessings become gifts instead of idols. Achievements become opportunities instead of identities. Influence becomes stewardship instead of pride. The believer begins to understand that every blessing has one purpose: to reveal the goodness of God, not the greatness of self. This perspective protects the soul. Success without God's presence easily produces pride. Success with God's presence produces gratitude. Gratitude keeps the heart soft. A soft heart continues hearing God's voice. A listening heart continues walking in wisdom. This is why spiritual success always comes before visible success. What happens within you is always more important than what happens around you. God shapes the inner life before He expands the outer life. He strengthens character before increasing responsibility. He builds faith before opening greater doors. His order is perfect. His timing is perfect. His wisdom is perfect. Sometimes we become discouraged because life seems slow. We wonder why certain promises have not yet appeared. We wonder why prayers seem delayed, yet delay does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean abandonment. Silence does not mean God has stopped working. Very often He is accomplishing His deepest work where human eyes cannot see. Roots grow before fruit appears. Foundations are laid before buildings rise. Character develops before influence expands. Never despise the hidden season. God accomplishes eternal work in quiet places. If His presence is with you, then your life is moving forward even when visible progress seems small. That is real success. The world celebrates what is seen. God celebrates what is faithful. The world applauds performance. God honors trust. The world rewards appearances. God looks upon the heart. Never forget that heaven evaluates life differently. One day every earthly achievement will pass away. Every title will fade. Every possession will remain behind. Every human reward will lose its value. But one treasure will never disappear: your relationship with God. That is the inheritance that cannot be stolen. That is the wealth that cannot be exhausted. That is the success that eternity will recognize. Jesus gave his followers this wonderful assurance. Hebrews 13 verse 5 declares, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." Those words are not temporary encouragement. They are an eternal covenant. They reveal the very heart of God. He does not walk beside you only during your victories. He remains with you during your questions, during your waiting, during your tears, during your growth, during your assignments, during every ordinary day that seems unnoticed. His presence never depends upon your emotions. His faithfulness never depends upon changing circumstances. His love remains constant. His grace remains sufficient. His strength remains available. This is why you can rise every morning with confidence, not because you know what the day will bring, but because you know who walks into the day with you. Allow these 5 words to become the language of your heart. The Lord is with me. Speak them when fear appears. Speak them when uncertainty surrounds you. Speak them when opportunities open. Speak them when challenges increase. Speak them when your prayers are still waiting for visible answers. Let these words renew your thinking. Let them quiet your anxious mind. Let them strengthen your faith. Let them lift your eyes above temporary circumstances. Each declaration reminds your heart where true success is found. Success is not first a destination. Success is a relationship. Success is living every day conscious that God Himself walks beside you. Success is trusting Him when you cannot yet see. Success is obeying Him when the path requires faith. Success is allowing His character to be formed within you. Success is carrying His peace into every situation. Success is reflecting Christ wherever He places you. One day the achievements of this world will be forgotten, but every life surrendered to God will shine forever. So choose carefully what you pursue. Do not spend your strength chasing what cannot satisfy. Do not build your identity upon what can disappear. Build your life upon the unchanging presence of God. Stand each day with quiet confidence. Walk each day with humble faith. Live each day with grateful expectation. And whenever the world asks you what success looks like, let your life answer before your lips do. A heart at rest, a mind filled with peace, a spirit anchored in faith, a life directed by God's wisdom, a believer who knows without doubt, the Lord is with me. When those 5 words become the foundation of your life, you will never truly be poor. You will never truly be alone. You will never truly be defeated, because the greatest success heaven can ever give has already become your possession. And that success begins today as you choose to walk every step in the conscious reality that the Lord is with you.